We are going to be looking at a new EDC flashlight. It's got a lot of promise. I've tested it pretty thoroughly, and today we're going to take a look at it. It's a great price point, and I think you guys are really going to like it, so stay tuned. We are going to take an in-depth look at the Thrunite Archer 1A V3 flashlight. So let's get started. So there it is. That is a Thrunite. That is the again the 1A V3. It's a perfect little size. Obviously a little small for my hands. It's not my quote-unquote go-to defensive light, but as far as an EDC light that I would carry every day, that's always with me, this is a great little light. When I first took it out of the package, immediately disappointment hit me because I saw this little button here, and I'm the first to tell you, anything that has little buttons or dials or things, I'm out. And so I figured this was how you turn the light on. And so if you've seen these through searching the web or whatever, and you've seen that button on there, fear not. It's not what I thought it was. This is a selection button. And of course, the next thing that went through my mind is, well, this is going to change my settings, which is not the case. It doesn't change the settings unless the light is on. And there it is. We have the little the tail cap switch, which is super important to me, and this one works really well. I'm actually really pleased with the way it works. When it comes to a tail cap switch like that for an EDC flashlight, I want one where that I can press it with a good amount of pressure, the light comes on. As soon as I let it go, it goes off. I have to really think about pressing hard enough to click it on to keep it on, because under stress, if I had actually used this, you know, we kind of lose our fine motor skills there. So I want a light that I can easily control on and off. Super important. And so this one does that really well. This button does allow for really easy selections. I'm used to the Streamlight system, the 10 tap, which I like. But this is really convenient. This is pretty intuitive. You click the button while the light's on, and it's going to change. And we're going to go through all the modes here in a second, and then I'll tell you the specifications on each level of the light and how long it's good for and how many lumens it puts out. You're gonna have to forgive me. I think there's my little cheat sheet here so I get the right specs, because there's a lot of them on this little guy. It's got a LED Cree light. It's good for 20 years. The light bulb itself, no big surprise there. So you have Firefly, you have low, medium, high, and strobe. I've never been a big fan of strobe personally. I think it's silly. It's just as distracting for the person who's trying to defend themselves or shoot than it is with the attacker, so I don't really care about that, but nonetheless it has it. So Firefly, that's a really cool feature, probably one that's underrated. I actually use it quite a bit. So when you turn the light on and you press it to the Firefly setting, my bad, it's a 0.1 lumen. So like in the light during the day, you can't even tell that the thing's on. You got to get it really close to something. But at night, when it's really dark, if you wanted to read a map, or you were in a scenario where you don't know how long you're going to be with before you get help, like survival, so your car breaks down in the middle of nowhere, whatever the case is, or you're stranded camping or lost, that's kind of a really cool feature because it gives you plenty of light to find things and to get information that you need, like I said, for maps and equipment. But it will run for 17 days. 17 days, so that's pretty cool. So that's a really handy feature there. As we step it up, then you get to the low, which is 17 lumens, which I have to admit, 17 lumens doesn't sound like much, and it really isn't, but it does the job. And that one is good for 22 hours. Then we go to medium, 75 lumens, plenty to light up an area, maybe not so much for self-defense where it's really going to disorient anybody, but still plenty of light, and that's good for 5 hours. Then we go to the highest setting, which is 200 lumens. I typically like to have an EDC light that's 300 lumens, just because that 100 lumens makes a difference. It's enough to disorient somebody, especially in the daylight. At night, it's really not going to matter. It's plenty bright. But that said, 200 lumens does the job, and it does have the strobe feature, which is the same. It's 200 lumens as well. So it puts out a good amount of light and has plenty of settings for you. And you don't have to worry about this button being pressed in your pocket over the cases and changing whatever settings that you had in the flashlight, which if that would have been the case, I would have been out. But that's not the case, so I like that a lot. we'll take a look at the box here. Nothing fancy there. Comes with a lanyard, so if you want to use a lanyard, it's got a loop in the back here. You can put that on. It does have a couple things that surprised me. You got some extra parts here. You got another O-ring on here, and there's actually a spare pressure cap rubber grommet button thing for the back. So to send you spare parts, that's kind of cool. Comes with it. I will say, oh, by the way, don't eat this. Probably not a great idea. I will tell you that outside of that, these instructions, if anybody at all from Thrunite is watching this, find somebody who knows anything about writing instructions for the US market and fix this. This is garbage. It doesn't even tell you what kind of, I had to actually go to their website to determine what type of flashlight battery goes in here. One of the most common things when I open this up is, okay, what kind of battery? Is it a CR123? Is it a AA battery? Is it a AAA battery? What is it? So list that out. Other than the 44 languages that screams, I'm not American made. Okay, other than that, that's the kind of the negatives of it. The good parts is this is a really cool product. If we get a close-up, hopefully the camera can pick it up here, you're going to see that right past the bezel as we go down, there is like, it looks almost like a nut for a wrench or whatever that would prevent this from rolling. Other than the clip, even if you didn't have the pocket clip on there, that would keep that from rolling off a surface. So that's a pretty cool little feature. The pocket clip itself is really well made. It's on there really well. I've worn this now for about 3 weeks to a month, and it's never come off or anything like that. It's really cool. It's tight. It's on there good. I really like and enjoy the texture of the flashlight. I'll actually show you here in a second compared to my other favorite flashlight. This has a really nice texturing. The Streamlight that I'm going to show you here in a second doesn't have all this, and that really is a nice advantage for getting a good grip on it. But as you can see there, that is the tail cap that comes off, and it does, of course, run on a AA battery. So when you think about it, for just a regular, I can get this at any convenience store, whatever the case is, no matter where I'm at, AA batteries are going to be available, and it's still running at 200 lumens at high. That's pretty good. It's getting it done. And it just takes one, and you're good to go. I haven't researched it yet if they have one that holds 2 batteries, but from my hand, again, and I'm 6'1", about 225, I'm a pretty full-size guy, I would like it to stick out a little bit further if I'm going to use it for any type of defensive scenario. Having 2 batteries, the battery length would be better for me, but nonetheless, there's going to be a lot of people who really like the fact that it is in fact this small. My wife, for example, Kim was in love with the size of this flashlight. It was perfect, so you can put it in her purse or whatever the case is, or clip it in her pocket, and it doesn't get in the way. It's not super bulky, so that was really nice. We're going to go and look at the tail cap switch here, and again, there is cuts in here so that you could run a lanyard on there if you'd like. But what I really want to show you, and I don't know if the camera, I'm going to put it down against this white background, you'll notice that it's kind of a U shape there. So there's a, is it picking it up, by the way? Okay, so the sides come up on that side past the button so that the switch can't be inadvertently pressed. So even if you put it completely upside down and press down on it, it's not going to be turned on. But yet you can still get your hand on there pretty easily. If you do any night shooting or low light shooting and use a flashlight and you use the cigar method, you can do it pretty well. If it gets turned the wrong way, though, it is a little bit more challenging. But I've had the same issue with many other tactical tail cap switch lights, because the whole point is you got to protect it so it doesn't just go off. So I think they had a good balance on this one, just by putting one on each side. It still protects it from going off, but yet it's still very usable. If I keep talking about this, but if I show you, this is the Streamlight that I use a lot. This is the ProTech 1L 1AA. We'll do actually a head-to-head, because in my opinion, they're pretty darn close flashlights. They're pretty close in price, obviously in size. The only real difference with the Streamlight is it's a little bit larger in diameter, both at the bezel and at the base. But really they're very, very comparable. And this is what I was talking about earlier. If you see here, it's got that textured grip. I like that. I wish Streamline actually would put that texturing on that one. But again, we'll do a review on that one later. This is all about this one for today. One thing worth mentioning is that obviously, as you saw, it'll run on a AA battery, but it will also run on it's called a 14,500 battery, which I had to look up, but it just simply means it's a rechargeable battery. So you can buy one of those with the charger, and now you got a rechargeable flashlight. The maximum beam distance with this at 200 lumens is 66 meters. I was quite impressed, to be honest with you, with its waterproof. It's IPX8, which is actually higher. That's 1.5 meters. It's actually higher than the previous EDC light that I was talking about. So that's pretty cool. The overall length on it, you know what, they put it in millimeters, and most people in the US aren't going to use millimeters, but it is 110 in length and 20 millimeters. But it's, I would say, about 4 inches, pretty close. I don't know. I'm not going to Google the specs, but you can if you'd like. So it's, again, good size flashlight for that, about the size of my fist, 4.5 inches, something like that. Kind of look at how this would function as a flashlight and the different modes and how it operates. So again, as I said earlier, the main concern, you can press this all day long with it off, no big deal. So we can simply press the light and it's going to come on, press it and click it all the way down and it will stay on. Now once it's on, here's where this button is going to come into use. So this is at 200 lumens. So right now, and I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up or not, but if you want to zoom in on this one just to show it or whatever the case is, I'm going to kind of shadow it. Can they see the light there? So this is 0.1 lumens. This is their Firefly mode. This is the one that will last, whatever I said, 14 days or whatever the case is. For reading maps, it doesn't look like much now. You got to understand, something that I've learned when it comes to videos and whatnot, cameras love light. So the studio is super bright in order to make these videos decent. So there's a lot of light right now. So you're not barely see that, but that's a cool feature. So now all we have to do is click the light again, and that will take us to our low setting. So it's got a nice little, it's got a focused center beam, but a nice cool setting as it goes out, cool and light, and kind of fades out, which is nice. So you can cover a pretty good area, but still, if you needed to take a shot or whatever the case is, or really identify something, that would help. Then we're going to kick it up to the medium setting. Again, all I got to do is press that button. Again, nice concentrated beam with a nice cool kind of surrounding light. And then 200 lumens there. That's the full setting. If you press the button and hold it down, I don't know what it's going to do to the camera, but if you hold it down, it will go to its strobe mode, and that's only 200 lumens. Press the button again in the back here, and that will turn it off. Once the light's on, if we go to the, let's say, the low setting and turn it off, when we turn it back on, it will go to that setting, whatever it was last. So, I'll just show you that. So the light's on low right now, right? So I turn it off. Let's say we put this in our pocket. Okay, it gets pressed a bunch of times, still on low. And if I want to change that, again, click it to the medium, turn it off, comes on the medium. Oops, high, turns off, comes on high. Okay. So that's a cool feature. It's really easy and convenient, and the fact that it doesn't change it if it gets in contact is cool. I really starting to like that now. Testing, I didn't take any footage on testing. I mean, it's a dark room and it lights up, big deal. But I will tell you, you'll see here in just a second with the photo there, that this flashlight, you can see it here, was frozen overnight, and it snowed, and it turned on, no problem, worked great. It was completely frozen, like I said, overnight. No issues there. I put it in water for at least 10-15 minutes. Dumped it in the same creek you saw. If you guys watched the Vortex Strike Fire review, the red dot, same creek there. I took it everywhere I normally take my EDC flashlights, used them the same way. I don't really care, beat it up, used it. I dropped it down in the car engine a couple times on accident, working on stuff. It's done great. It's been a great flashlight. Like I said, I really like some of the things. I like the texturing of it. I like the fit in the hand. I would like it longer just because I have bigger hands, and that would be great. But the light output for a double A battery putting out 200 lumens, that's pretty substantial. The clip has been strong. I have no issues with it coming off or coming out of my pocket or moving around. It's really on there tight. I would say my impressions of the quality of the product itself, like if I compare this to a Streamlight, which is my usual go-to flashlight, the quality is spot on. I mean, I can't really say that this is cheap or feels cheap. Everything feels strong. I would have no issues whatsoever carrying this around on an everyday basis and bet my life that the light's going to come on when I need it to. So I have no complaints there about that. Other than the instructions, I don't have much negative things to say about it. It's been a great little light, and I like that selection mode there. It's pretty cool. So for those of you that are interested for the head-to-head comparison between the Streamlight and the Thrunite, stay tuned. We're going to do that. I also have, if you're researching flashlights now, not so much in the smaller version, but the bigger EDC lights, the not so much EDC, but tactical lights, lights that you're going to carry in your car, vehicle, or at night in your house. I have the Surefire versus the Streamlight, two top favorite lights with the IntelliBeam on the Surefire. You can kind of see how that looks, and that one is also done with actual night shooting, so you can kind of see them in action. I'll put the link below for that, so if you want to check it out, it came out good. It's a good video. Other than that, I hope you guys liked it. Hope you got some information out of it. Again, I totally support the product. I think it's good. I'd like to see some more offerings from them. If you liked the video, you found it helpful, please give me a thumbs up. I always appreciate the support on that. And with that, the greatest compliment, if you like this stuff, the greatest compliment you can give Kim or myself is sharing our stuff, helping us get our message out to as many people as possible. So we really appreciate you sharing stuff like that. What else? You can find us on Instagram. Of course, you found us here on YouTube. You can find us on Facebook. Until next time, remember, it's always better to be judged by 12 than carried by 6. Thrunite Archer 3A. That's not right. Thrunite Archer 1A 2 volt. Is that right? 1A V3. Okay. All right. We are going to take an in-depth review of the Thrunite Archer 3A. No. What is it? 1A V3. 1A version 3.